Alright, so today we're going to talk about Dennis Jr. Is he good? Oh yeah! Oh yeah. Alright, so we're going to cover Dennis Jr. in his entirety. We're going to talk about his commander perk. We're going to talk about the tactics. We're going to talk about the support loadout. We're going to talk about everything that makes this character good, how he works, how to achieve greatness. By the time we're done, you're going to have the full lowdown on the mythic hero that came out of the new Rad release. So pretty exciting. Stick around to the end and I will try my best to expand your brain. Alright guys, if you love our videos and you love what we're doing here, please use our supporter creator code. It really helps us out, man. It helps us keep doing what we're doing and keep on producing content here. It means the world. Thank you so much. Alright, let's get right into it. Alright, Dennis Jr. He is back from the future. Mr. Dennis. Okay, so he's got Going Constructor, Rosie, and Bull Rush. Going Constructor is an ability that allows him to attack with a hammer and allows him to throw up a shield to reduce damage, incoming damage. It's a very strong ability. Not amazing, but it's a very strong ability. It's one of the newer ones that came out for the constructor class. It's kind of a mixed ability for me. It's the downside is really, the fact that it gets you killed, right? It gets you killed. When you use this ability, it's good. It does lots of damage. It can block, which is really nice. However, the major problem is just that it's just one of those abilities that it forces you to go in up close and personal, which has its downsides, right? Anytime that you have an ability that forces you into being in a certain position to use it, you're going to have trouble. You're going to struggle. It's not like going commando where you can just pull out your minigun and just lay waste with no real ramifications. Rosie is another one of those characters or abilities where it's really fun to use. It can be really strong, but again, yeah, it's just got a really bad cooldown, so you're very rarely going to find any use out of this one. Two very questionable abilities. Bull Rush, on the other hand, is a fantastic ability that just allows you to charge, and you can collect a bunch of enemies and smash them into a wall, get them off of your walls, whatever, right? It's a great ability with a lot of options. So that one is a win. But constructor abilities in general are kind of lacking, and yeah, in my opinion, need a lot of work. So the thing that really makes this character shine is definitely his commander perk. The commander perk is the Shredder Plus. Axe eliminations have a 37% chance to grant Rock and Riff. And Rock and Riff will increase your damage by 50% and your melee attack speed by 32%. Has an 8-second decay over time effect. So it starts out strong and then it becomes weaker. Really, really great ability, honestly. This is the new commander perk for all of the different characters. Each one has a different activator. This one's activator is the axe eliminations. So basically just over 1 in 3. Every time you kill something, you have like 1 in 3 chance approximately to activate your Rock and Riff. So this one is actually fantastic. Now the thing I really like about this particular activator is that it requires no strategy. You don't, there's no real challenge to using this character. The other ones you have to hit multiple kills within a certain time limit. The other one you have to collect items preemptively in order to boost your attack speed. The other one is get kills and then pick up items. The other one, each one has a different trigger, but the effect is always the same. 50% extra damage and 32% bonus attack speed. So fantastic melee ability. So the whole rad set is very much of a melee centric llama pack. It's fantastic. And this guy really falls right in line. This guy here is the very first ever axe specialist. This guy is, like the rest of them, I want to say not god tier. He's really strong, and his ability is definitely really, really good. And if you love axes, then this is your first ever option to having a powerhouse axe build. And this one is a very simplistic build compared to all the other ones. You know, this is the easiest one to do. You don't have to do a special strategy or tactic. You just have to walk into battle and just start swinging and just start killing everything. Every time you get a kill, there's a 1 in 3 percent, a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to get an 8-second buff that gets you to kill even harder, right? So it's fantastic. This is a powerful ability with an easy to activate requirement. You just kill. You just run and kill. This is, out of all the characters, this is the most simplistic one. You know, it was like no problem to pick this character up and get, a good feel for how to excel and how to win. And yeah, that's so for those of you who value simplicity. The biggest challenge that this character has is the fact that he is an axe character. Axes are fairly weak in this game. It's not great, right? The axes have the highest crit rate of any weapon, of any of the melee weapons. The downside is they have really, really terrible functionality and attack speed. So when you're using an axe, you got to really pick carefully which one do you want to use. And there's no easy answer. All I can tell you is the one that I use and the reason that I use it. Now, the weapon that I like to use with with Dennis Jr. is the Vindertech axe. Now, the reason that I built the Vindertech axe in the first place is because my goal was to go through the axe list and find the axe with the fastest attack speed that you could possibly get. That is my what I value more than anything is just attack as fast as you can, as fast as you can, as fast as you can, right? The faster you attack, the better the weapon. The reason that this weapon will never compete with some of the other melee builds is just because this one is an axe, and swords are just stronger. The reason swords are stronger is because they attack quicker. Now, this one's no slouch though. This one attacks at 0.36, which is blazing fast. It is really, really good, but as you can see, it comes with a caveat. This one is a attack speed, armor, damage to slowed and snared, and energy, which is pretty good, right? That is the same build that I use on my Stabsworth. The difference is the Stabsworth has a 0.25 attack speed versus the 0.36, so it attacks significantly slower. It's just not as quick, right? It's not as quick. But on the upside, you have like a really, really good crit chance. This thing has a 20% base crit compared to the much lower 10% of the Stabsworth. So that is a pretty big advantage in that way, right? You get a 27.5% bonus versus a 37.5. So this one is going to give you much more consistent crits. The downside is, of course, that you can't really afford to have a lot of crit damage on this weapon. It comes out with right out the gate with 75% crit damage compared to the 50% on the Stabsworth. So that's the main difference, is this one crits a little more often, it crits a little bit harder, but attacks a little bit slower. Now, the reason that this one is not as good is just because of that attack speed. When you consider characters like Paleo Luna, which is a staple in every build, every melee build, Paleo Luna gets bonus damage based on how many times she swings, right? Her bonuses don't stack on any other bonuses. It's just basically how many times can you swing the weapon, and that's how much that's how many bonuses you're going to get. So each one has an advantage and a disadvantage, and my preference, of course, is the faster attack speed. I find it gives you more options, gives you more like depth, and yeah, overall it's just a better choice. However, when you're nitpicking between 0.1 attack speed and 10% crit rate, we're coming down to like min-max territory where does it really matter? It's like maybe not. Maybe it doesn't really matter. You could use either of these weapons and absolutely clean house. As you'll see, I devastate everything with this build, rightfully so. This is a powerhouse build with a really easy gameplay like strategy requirement. So the support perks that we're using for this one is, of course, Blast from the Past. Blast from the Past is the most powerful team perk in the entire game. It removes all of your shields permanently and increases your max health by 200%. So as long as you have this on, you have no shield and tons of health. We're looking at between 900 and 1 million, 900,000 and 1 million health. It is incredible. The amount of survivability you have while using this team perk is just outstanding. It's next level stuff. Now you need 2 dinosaur heroes to use this ability, and of course, since we're running a melee character, we want to be running Saurian Claws. So Paleoluna's Saurian Claws will give you an extra 5.5% of your current health as weapon damage. So every time you attack, it'll say how much health do you have, and you will get a damage bonus based off of how much health you have. This bonus does not apply to your other bonuses. It does not stack with crit rate or crit damage or any other form of damage. This is just damage tacked on top of whatever it is that you're doing. So the healthier you are, the more health you have, the more damage you're going to do with this character. It is incredibly powerful. The other one is Prehistoric Izza. She gives you Saurian Hide. While your shield is depleted, your armor is increased by 33. So your shield is always depleted, so you get a 33 permanent armor bonus. Fantastic. Now we've got Anatomy Lessons and Corrosive Strikes. These ones kind of come as a pair. They have very good synergy between the two of them. Anatomy Lessons is Whiteout Fiona's ability. This gives you an extra 15 crit rate on your swords, axes, and scythes. So as an axe user, this one will push you from 20% up to, what was it, 37.5, I believe. Very strong, man. Very strong. This one puts you right into that sweet spot where you're critting over 1/3 of your attacks. So the RNG is not terrible. It's a pretty reliable source of damage, and raising your crit rate is a pretty big deal with Corrosive Strikes, because Deadly Blade Crash's Corrosive Strike ability is dependent on your melee crits. So every time you get a melee crit, it applies a 30% snare to that target and afflicts them with a damage over time that does 37% of the damage dealt each second. So very strong. This is exceptionally powerful against smashers and mist monsters. Anything you have to fight for a period of time, this damage will stack up really fast and cause a ton of trouble for your enemies. So very powerful ability. So these ones are great. I love them. They have such great cohesive synergy, boosting that with your Saurian Claws and the fact that you're running with boosted axe attacking all the time. The offensive power of this is just astounding. Honestly, it is astounding. Going Coconuts is our last ability. You can also use a Survivalist, although for me, Crossbones Barrett was an absolute must pick for this style of play. It does require that you farm for the coconuts. The downside to the coconut is that you have a 20% chance to find coconuts while looting containers. So you have to go mess around try to get into urban areas with a lot of containers and start looting like crazy, so that you can get a nice little stack of at least like 5 or 10 coconuts. You know, you want to be able to you know, not die. You want to be able to fight constantly. So this is a really important ability. Every time you eat a coconut, it gives you about 50% of your health back, and then a 20-second buff that heals you over time and gives you 16% bonus damage. So just exceptionally god tier, you know, one of the best support perks ever. You know, when used in combination with this guy's just disgusting offense, you're going to find yourself just with a big smile on your face and a bunch of husk corpses lying at your feet. Just absolute power. So the axe eliminations is very simple. You just run into battle and you start killing everything you can. As soon as you see your damage bonus pop, you'll see the colors exploding from underneath you. It's very obvious. You really can't miss it. You're going to immediately start attacking the biggest enemies that you can attack. So whatever the big targets are, whatever you're struggling with, that's your moment. As soon as you get buffed, you go right after the big guys and try to utilize that full attack speed, you know, barrage of insane damage, and just try to kill everything before your buff runs out. Once your buff runs out, again, you can trigger it again. 37% chance that when you get an elimination, you're going to re-trigger your Rock and Rift. It does not stack, so you can't trigger Rock and Rift again until your current Rock and Rift is done. So, you know, be aware that you're on an 8-second timer. As soon as it triggers, you need to attack the biggest target first, because the effect will decay over time, becoming less powerful. So definitely, you know, watch for that buff. As soon as the buff happens, go straight after the big targets and just devastate your enemies completely. It's a fantastic skill. All right, guys, so that is the monster, the very first axe hero, Dennis Jr. He comes with the new team perk. So if you wanted to try out the brand new team perk, you get it automatically by unlocking this character. The perk is called Totally Rockin' Out, and it increases your crit rating by 160. So basically, it's right in line with your Rock and Rift. Whenever you get your Rift activator, you cap out your crit rate, which is about 60%. Between 50 and 60 is when you start getting major diminishing returns on your crit rate. So, you know, even though 160 crit rate sounds really impressive, it's really not at all. You also get a 73 base health healing effect, so it heals you. But again, you are dropping, you know, the blast from the past, the insane survivability, and also the damage bonus that comes with Saurian Claws comboed with blast from the past. Yeah, it's definitely, in my opinion, there's no question, blast from the past is the superior ability. That said, too, it doesn't really have great synergy with an axe in general, because axes, because they're coming with high passive crit rate, you're not going to get as much benefit as a weapon that had virtually no crit rate, and then you get the 160 basically capping you out. So you got to kind of weigh. Everybody has a different playstyle and different values, but for me, this one is completely dominant. Just completely. All right, guys, I really hope that this review helped you understand how to fully achieve greatness as an axe specialist for the first time ever. I really hope you were entertained. Yeah, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, guys. Ring that little bell for notifications and leave a thumbs up to help us out. And comment down below. Let me know what you think of this review, this character, and just the rad in general. I'm really, you know, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that we got a melee set, right? Just a bunch of melee heroes with a bunch of different tactics and different strategies, and they're all relevant in their own way. I love that. I think it's really cool, and I can't wait to explore further, you know, all of these heroes even as support perks to boost some of the other, you know, god tier level characters, and see if we can find some synergy to take what's best out of these guys and apply them to some of our best builds that we've been using so far. All right, guys, thank you so much for being a part of the VASH Corps. Thank you for having my back. Thank you for all the love and support and making this possible. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, yeah.